But hey, let him stay there while there are still insurrectionists planning attacks and rallies on the nation's capital. We have a new date for the next insurrection. It's called September 18th. MAGA ralliers will be the most hardened and incomplete alternative reality, according to a former FBI agent. Given their track record, the FBI agent probably knows because he's in the group with them. Probably bought them all their fucking gear and shit. This wild shit is going on. Supporters of former President Donald Trump who are attending a September 18th rally supporting those charged for the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol will be among the most hardened members of the MAGA movement, a former FBI special agent and terrorism expert warned on MSNBC on Friday. Clint Watts was interviewed by MSNBC's Joy Reid about the upcoming rally that is expected to feature members of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Watts told Reid, "It's hard to tell right now, Joy. I think that the next week when we'll know how serious it is, but I can tell you this, since January 6th, there hasn't been a rally generated this much noise in the social media space for a lot of these groups until September 18th. That's the first one and gotten a lot of attention. They've been dispersing and going to city council meetings and going to school board meetings. The Goat Keepers." Watts added some caveats by saying that some hardcore MAGA fans might avoid the rally for fear that it's a false flag operation. Yes, these motherfuckers are paranoid as shit, and they don't live in reality. A man by the name of the QAnon shaman arrested in the original Capitol riot. Jacob Chansley, the Capitol rider known as the QAnon shaman, pleaded guilty on Friday to a single felony charge in connection with the January 6th attack. Chansley, 34, pleaded guilty in a Washington, D.C. federal court in a virtual hearing to obstruction of an official proceeding. According to court records, he will be sentenced on November 17th. 6 charges were originally brought against Chansley in connection with the riot, including the obstruction charge and a felony charge of civil disorder. His guilty plea in court on Friday was part of a larger deal struck with prosecutors in the case. The other 5 charges have been dismissed. Chansley pleaded guilty to one count of the more serious charge, which could have resulted in 20 years in prison. Under the terms of the agreement, Chansley agreed to serve 41 to 51 months in prison. If the court decides to impose a fine, the penalty can range between $15,000 and $150,000. I agree with you that it's good to see that they're incredibly disorganized, but they're also fucking violent as shit, and they've got a bunch of nut jobs among them, and they're paranoid as fuck, and that's dangerous. It's not like the dissent among them is going to result in them being less active. I think it almost like it will confirm their biases and make them even more active or more prone to a violent movement. Unfortunately. Because remember, we're dealing with the dumbest fucks walking the planet. Not only are they the dumbest fucks walking the planet, more than likely, they're driving a 40, 50 grand fucking pickup truck, living in a nice house in the suburbs. They've had a small taste of the affluence. Over 570 people have been arrested in connection with the riots that led to 5 deaths. Among them, 30 individuals have pleaded guilty to charges in connection with the riots. Meanwhile, about 17 of them are waiting to hear from their lawyer, who was apparently in a hospital with COVID. We did that story the other night. I just wanted to touch on it. I just wanted to make fun of it again. Because he was a dumb fuck anti-masker. Capitol riot suspect Doug Jensen was supposed to stay off of the internet. He didn't. Now he's back in jail. Doug Jensen, a Des Moines man charged in the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol, was released from jail in July after he promised he would abide by the rules the court set if a judge would allow him to go home until his trial. Although he promised not to access the internet on Thursday, he was ordered back to jail because he violated the terms of his pretrial release by using an iPhone connected to the internet in August, just 2 weeks after he was released. Frankly, I think it's probably a logical inference that there are no conditions that I can impose that will ensure Mr. Jensen does not pose a risk to the community. Judge Timothy Kelly said on Thursday, "I made Mr. Jensen's condition of release extraordinarily clear." Jensen spent 6 months in a Washington, D.C. jail, but was released after he successfully petitioned a judge to release him to his home. His lawyer said at the time he renounced his previous belief in the QAnon conspiracy and would abide by whatever terms the court set. Kelly said, however, that Jensen called himself a true believer of QAnon and a digital soldier for these theories before January 6th. Now clear that he has not experienced a transformation and that he continues to seek out those conspiracy theories that led to his dangerous conduct on January 6th. I don't see any reason to believe that he has had the wake-up call that he needs. While out of jail, Jensen was prohibited from accessing the internet or using internet-capable devices, including cell phones. But in August, prosecutors said a pretrial service officer caught Jensen in his garage streaming a program on a Wi-Fi enabled iPhone. Jensen first claimed the phone was his daughter's, according to a brief prosecutors filed on August 19th. Then he claimed his wife left the news on for him when she left for work. According to the brief, later he admitted he spent 2 days streaming a cyber symposium held by Pillow Magnet and leading Stop the Steal advocate Mike Lindell. Jensen's attorney, Christopher Davis, wrote on August 22nd that Jensen was cutting a tree down during a hot week and would go into the garage to cool down while listening to the conference on a phone using a Bluetooth-enabled radio. Davis said that Jensen complied with every other condition of his release. He intended to comply with the internet prohibition as well if he was allowed to remain out of jail. No, I really will comply if you'll let me out again. Davis even proposed sending Jensen to the Polk County Jail for some time to sanction him for the violation. Mr. Jensen has owned up to what he did, and what he did was wrong, Davis said. By the way, this was Jensen from one of the famous pictures from January 6th. The guy right here in front with the beard and the QAnon shirt that says, "Trust the plan." But prosecutors had argued that Jensen was already being monitored with the most stringent level of pretrial supervision available. Assistant U.S. Attorney Hava Murrell wrote that Jensen's wife, who was tasked with supervising Jensen and making sure he abided by the terms of his release, left the iPhone with him when she went to work August 13th. Jensen has shown that he has not and will not take orders from anyone. He still trusts the plan. There are no additional conditions that the court could impose to ensure that Mr. Jensen does not return to the same habit of watching fucking stupid-ass My Pillow guy.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Yes, I do.